Good morning, guys. Alright, you guys are gonna have two videos today because I didn't record yesterday, so this is my fourth one. It's because I was listening to the doctor's orders, which was rest. So some of you guys saw my post on Facebook asking, can ultrasound dating be wrong? And I got a couple private messages asking, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense, because I put, on Friday I was 5 weeks and 1 day, and then yesterday was 5 weeks and 4 days, according to the ultrasound. So people are confused. They thought I go back next Friday, which I do. So let me tell you what happened. Friday night I had like 7 or 8 like bright red drops, and I got a little panicky. I was going to go to the RSVED. So my husband said, sleep it off. I don't think it's, because really there isn't much for them to do in the emergency room. Sorry, some of the sites just popped out. So it was like one of those, there's nothing they can do to help me, or so yesterday morning I woke up and I was having really bad cramps, and so I said, that's it, let's go. And he agreed. He's like, alright, let's go. Of course I went, and they said, oh, well, probably urinary tract infection. And he said, I've had probably about 20 to 30 of them in my whole life. I know it's not. And they said, oh, well, when's with pregnancy? And I've had them with pregnancy. So I know that they are a little bit different, but not too much different. I explained that, I stick to the exact same regimen that I do when I'm not pregnant, in terms of drinking 2 things of water, but then I also, every other week, will buy a thing of cured cranberry juice and drink it. And I also take cranberry pills too, so which are safe to use while you're pregnant. But that's what I do when I have a urinary tract infection. To prevent them. I sometimes still get them, but not too often. So he said, the doctor, it wasn't a doctor that I like. He was an idiot. His name is Dr. Wagner. I hate him. Really, he's the worst doctor ever for an ER. So he's like, oh, well, we'll do a physical exam on you. And I'm like, I really don't want one. I said, because, it can cause spotting. And he's like, well, I'm just going to check your cervix. So I said, fine. So, of course, he checked it with his all the he said, okay, well, then, has my blood come back? Because the second you get to the hospital, you pee in a cup and you give them blood. And he's like, well, your blood hasn't come back yet, so we'll just kind of hang out, and as soon as that's done, your urine comes back, then we'll decide what we're going to do. So I'm sitting there. My husband had to go to a class because it was early in the morning. He had a class in the morning, and I was exhausted, but they had put in an IV. So I was laying there in the room, kind of taking a quick nap. The next thing I would know, one of the nurses walks in, because I was getting ready to say, okay, I gotta go to the bathroom. I know how to take off, the IV back from the wall for easy. But I was going to call him and say, but if you're doing an ultrasound. But I'm like, wait a minute, he never said anything about an ultrasound. So when the nurse walks in, she's like, are you full? I'm like, that's weird, you knew I had to pee. She's like, oh, no, you're going to have ultrasound. I'm like, yes, I am full. Because normally you have to sit there and drink like 4 or 5 cups of water. And she's like, no. Of course, I get to radiology and that, and they're like, oh, well, we meant for her to start drinking the water. I'm like, oh, trust me, I am full. So she's like, well, you might be too full. Like, I don't know. So, you know, she's like, alright, well, I'll take you right now and get it done. Of course, she said my bladder was like the perfect fullness, because she's like, yeah, there's sometimes it's too full, sometimes it's not full enough. So, of course, they did over the belly, and she's like, all I can see is that circle. So, that's all I'm going to tell you. I was like, oh. She said, because of that, I have to do the internal. I'm like, going to myself, duh, I've done this all before, I know. And she was really, really good. For any of you guys that don't know, they're actually supposed to turn the screen away from you if you go through the ER. You cannot look at that screen. But she kind of had it tilted toward her, but kind of towards me, so I could still watch. But I know enough about ultrasounds, so I kind of asked a couple questions. And she's like, I can't print anything off for you. I can't diagnose you with anything. I can't tell you if I see a heartbeat. I can't tell you. I said, oh, I know, I understand. I just appreciate that you're letting me catch. Like, that's fine. So I was watching, and she did the internal, and of course she's sticking around by my ovaries first, because they have to make sure it's not a ectopic pregnancy. So they shed both of them. And then she focuses in on the gestational sac. Now, to me, it looks a lot bigger than yesterday. Well, Friday, because it was Saturday. So she's like, and then she focuses more in on the baby. And instead of it being like just the yolk sac that we saw the day before, it looks more like a fetal pole. And I asked her, I said, oh, is that the fetal pole? And she's like, no. I'm like, oh. Do you see a heartbeat? She's like, I can't say yes and I can't say no. She's like, but keep in mind, she's like, it's hard to stay on it. She's like, so don't freak out. It's hard to stay on it. And she's like, that's what I will put in my notes. And she measured it. I said, is it bigger than 5 weeks 1 day? Oh, hi, guys. No, horsey. So then she's like, all right, well, good luck to you, and hopefully I'll see you when you get to 20 weeks. Well, no, she said, I'll see you when you get to 20 weeks. And it was like okay, this isn't things is good. Hi, Tiny. The kids are awake. Uh-oh. So anyways, so I go back to the room and I wait for a good hour and a half now, which is normal for the emergency room. So then the doctor comes in and he's like, well, everything looks healthy for a 5 week and 4 day pregnancy. And I'm like, I should actually be 6 weeks and 5 days. I said, or possibly 6 weeks and 3 days. And he's like, well, if you're 6 weeks and 3 days, then 5 weeks and 4 days is just a week off. He's like, which isn't that bad. He's like, that's, he's like, but as simple as it sounds, he's like, the cursor being just a teeny tiny off, you could be measuring at 6 weeks. He's like, you're not 6 weeks and 5 days. He's like, because there definitely should be a heartbeat I'm like, thanks. He's like, but there's a fetal pulse. He's like, which supports the idea that you could be 5 weeks and 4 days or 6 weeks and 3 days. And, my husband and I are like, well, yeah, that's possible to be 6 weeks and 3 days. Because that would have meant that I got my positive at, 8 DPO instead of 10 DPO, which is possible. Sorry. Tiny sticking your tongue out at me. Hi. So I guess that's my question. How many of you guys have had that problem? And then, you go for your 8-week, what you think is your 8-week ultrasound, and they say, oh yeah, you're 8 weeks, but you've been told that you were actually like a week behind, 2 weeks behind. Just if any of you guys have gone through that, so I am sorry for not posting this video, making this video yesterday, but the doctor said to rest. So I will talk to you guys, well, you'll see us later, because we're going on a little outing, so I'll try to film that for you guys. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.